Yo, what's going on YouTube? Nasif here from Click, and today we're back again on Gran Turismo 7, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're not going to be racing online today. We're actually doing one of the offline races in the mission center on the GT7. Today we're going to be doing the human comedy race, the Mazda Roadster touring car, and we are going to be on Tsukuba Racing Circuit. For this one, we are going to be on racing hards, and I did purchase intermediates and wets for the race because it did say that there was possibly going to be rain, which, as we'll see later on in the race, that there definitely was. So what we'll do today is I'm just going to run through the entire event, give you some tips and tricks in terms of how to win it, what to keep an eye on, and we'll just go from here now. Starting off on the first lap of the race, the first mistake that I made here is not remembering that there was fuel consumption. So I'm running on this entire first stint on fuel map 1, which is not great for endurance races because I'm going to end up having to pit for gas more times than I wanted to. And another thing you'll notice throughout the video is that this event, we made so many driving mistakes. We had so many spinouts. We had a lot of issues with our pit strategy. So ultimately, not the best, most perfect race possible, but definitely just a good example to show that you don't have to drive perfectly to win these events. So let's take a look here and see what we're doing on the first lap. Really just trying to set the pace. Get past these slower cars, checking the weather radar down there on the bottom right to see what's happening. So far, there's nothing coming up. And so we are kind of just cruising around, setting our lap times. I think on average, I was looking at about 1 minute to 1 minute, 1 second on average for the lap times in the dry. So let's take a look and see how these laps are. Okay, so just jumping ahead a few laps here, getting up to the sort of the tail end of the fifth lap. Fighting with 7th position here, just bumping him out of the way a little bit there and going into the second to last corner of the track here. And as you can see, first accident or first mistake, spinning the car out, catching a little bit too much curb. A little bit frustrating because I'm dropping about 3 or 4 positions in one corner. But it is what it is. We're just going to have to continue, racing and continue slogging on through. You'll notice in this race, again, like I said earlier, we made a couple mistakes. And so I guess the main thing is to not let those get the best of you and just continue to try your best to drive a clean and fast lap right the way through the race. And again, just fast forwarding through a couple laps again, caught up to the pack, back fight again, fighting for 10th position, 9th position, and 8 and 7's up ahead there too. We are looking pretty good so far, I think, minus that one sort of incident where we spun out on that corner. It's looking pretty solid. Something to keep in mind with the AI for this race, I found that in a lot of cases, they just kind of drive like you're not there, like they're on a fixed line. So just be careful. You'll see here in this corner, the AI dive bombs on the inside there and knocks me out of the way. And I kind of shifted out of the way to move so I didn't get spun out again. So just something to keep in mind. Keep an eye on your radar. Keep looking behind you. Over here, we're just doing a quick pause just to adjust. And I think at this point in the race, I think I realized that my clutch wasn't working. So I don't know if the settings for this race are different. But there was no clutch at all for this race. So I would then just shifted from using the clutch with the H pattern just to using the paddles. And just jumping ahead here, so getting back into 7th place after that initial accident. And I think over here we are going to be taking 6th position as well. So just, again, as you can see on the right-hand side, your lap times are pretty consistent right the way through, about 1 minute flat. The fastest lap set by the AI right now is 1 minute 0.2, which I think we will do better in either this lap or a couple laps from now. So again, this race is all about consistency. You don't necessarily have to drive the snot out of the car and get it around as fast as you possibly can. You just have to drive it consistently and smoothly and try and average about a 1 minute lap time, give or take in the dry. As you'll see, when it gets wet, obviously your lap times drop. And jumped ahead to the 13th unlucky lap here. This is where I realized that, oh crap, I did not account for the fuel for this race. So I was running on fuel map 1 for the entire first stint of this race. And you can see here coming on the back straight, I get the fuel indicator saying to pit. And I'm like, oh crap, I completely forgot. So a little bit of panic there, jumping my fuel trims up to 4, leaning it out a little bit, getting into the pits to fuel up. As you can see on the bottom left there, my tires are in pretty decent shape, so I don't think I'm going to change them for this pit stop. Just going to hop in and fuel up. And as you'll see in this pit stop, I think I also make either this pit stop or next pit stop. I make an error by pressing X on the don't refuel button in error and actually end up skipping fueling by a little bit. So let's take a look and see if it's this pit stop. For some reason, the pit stops here are so slow at Tsukuba, like a 30-second pit time for a pit lane that's like less than 300 meters long, not even. Kind of crazy. But looks like for this pit stop, we actually did fuel up all the way. But you'll see on the next one that we actually, I think we fueled up only halfway and end up having to pit again, which is going to cause an issue for us down the line in the race. And as you can see, the clouds are coming in on the radar. We do see a little bit of rain. So just keeping an eye on that, because we are going to have to pit to change to either wets or intermediates, depending on how bad the conditions get. So just while you're in this race, just always be keeping an eye on your tires, your fuel, and also the weather, just to see what's happening, so you can kind of judge ahead and get ahead on the rest of the grid, so to say. And just jumping about 10 minutes ahead in the race here, you can see that the wipers are starting to go, so we are getting a bit of rain. Nice battle here with second place, end up going right into the rear of him, who's braking aggressively on that corner and taking second position and moving in. Now our eyes are set on first, and so we are going to take a look here at the weather radar on the bottom right, and you're going to see in just a second here how extensive the rain is about to get on this race. So let's take a look. Turns out that car wasn't actually first place. That was someone else that we had lapped. So I don't know if you saw that quick glimpse of the weather radar there. Tons of weather coming in, tons of rain coming in, so it's something to definitely keep an eye on. You can see on the bottom left there that there is moisture on the track, and also that my tires are starting to wear down. So just looking to keep the consistency up, try and maintain that 1 minute, 1 lap time, but also try not to end up having a crash, which we're going to see shortly here. As we fast forward a little bit here, we are still on fuel trim 4. You can see the weather radar there is, we're just cycling through the things. The weather radar is blue all around. We are going to come up to our next major incident of the race here. So coming around, catching a little bit too much curb on the left-hand side there. And as you can see here, the rear end just spun around. Nice little pirouette on the straight, managed to save it, but unfortunately lost a little bit of time there. So again, just another example of not necessarily needing to drive perfect for this race to win it, but definitely obviously would be better if you don't have mistakes and errors like that. And coming up to the end of lap 30, so we did, as you can see, the fuel trim 1 got us about 13 laps. From there on out, we got an additional 4 laps, so 17 laps in total being on fuel trim 4. So it just gives you an idea of how many extra laps you can get. Now, as you can see here, again, I think we opted to stay on the same tires, if I'm not mistaken. But I think this is this is the pit stop where I made the error by not fueling up all the way. So let's take a look and see how much of a blunder that is for this race here. So we're pulling in. So it looks like we did swap our tires for this race. I think we are back on racing hards because the track is not that wet, and fueled up, accidentally pressed X on the steering wheel and jumped out onto the track with just about a quarter tank of fuel left. Unfortunate, it's a mistake. It's something that you unfortunately can't really reverse. You just have to play around it. And coming out of the pits on the 31st lap, we are in 5th position with a good chunk of rain coming in, as you'll see later on in the race. And so for the 31st lap, we are coming back into the pits to get additional fuel. I just didn't want to run out of fuel on the track, and I figured that given the track surface is still mostly dry, I'll try my luck here for a fuel stop and just fill up the tank while we're in the pits. But we are going to stay on the racing hard tires. And just jumping ahead a few minutes here into the race, we are on starting lap 36. As you can see on the weather radar, that the rain is looking pretty gnarly, and the track surface is definitely getting a little bit more slick and a little bit colder, so there's definitely less grip and traction with these tires. And on the bottom left there, you can see that the rain indicator, the track rain indicator, is showing that it's about 1/3 of the way up, which means that it will start impacting the grip on the racing hard tires. So just have to drive accordingly to the conditions. You can still stay out on the racing hard, but you just have to be a little bit more careful because there is a tendency to for the rear end to slip out with this car just because of the lack of grip. And again, just a little fast forward here, pretty much the entire grid is pitting to get on to the either intermediates or wets. Because I had that additional pit stop to get additional fuel, I figured I'm going to stay out and try and just increase my lead a little bit here. Unfortunately, the track is extremely wet now, and so there is definitely a significantly less amount of grip, as you can see, almost losing the rear there. So it's just kind of one of those things that you have to play on the fly. You have to make that judgment call on the fly, and we'll see if this was the right call to make. As you can see, the car is kind of sliding everywhere because there's just not that much grip on the track. So let's see if this was a smart decision or an unfortunate one. And coming around the last corner, or the second last corner, I'm coming out to the back straight. I only one lap later, I'm looking at the weather radar, and it's just complete rain everywhere. So I figured this is a good opportunity to jump into the pits and change our tires to the wet tires, which we will see here. So selecting the wets, also going to fuel up again. Since we're in the pits, you may as well, because we do have an additional, I think there's almost 20 something minutes left in the race, about 20 minutes or just over. So we are going to need the fuel to get to the end of the race. So we're going to see the pit stop go through here, and we'll see how the rest of the race goes in the wet. And just fast forwarding through the wet section of the race, nothing really all that crazy happened, just driving as normal. But now you can see on the bottom left there that the track is basically completely soaked, and you can see that the rain is just getting worse. So you definitely do have to drive according to the conditions. You can't drive the same way you would on the racing hards as you are on the wets. So you just have to keep that in mind. As you can see on the right hand side, our lap times are slowing, getting to around 106, 107. Now this lap is a 108 just because of the conditions on the track. So again, you don't have to drive the car, like I said multiple times in the video, you don't have to drive the car at its absolute fastest pace. Just want to try and stay consistent, avoid any minor accidents, and avoid obviously stupid decisions like going into the pits and not fueling up fully. And so as we're going through our 45th lap here of the race, we can see that visually the track is drying up, and also on the bottom left there, you can see that the wetness indicator on the track is slowly going down. So we're dropping back into the range where sort of racing hards or intermediates might be the better choice, because the wet tires don't necessarily perform the best unless it's wet. So we're going to take a look here and see if we're going to pit. I think we do take a pit stop on the 45th lap here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so, and something also to keep in mind, the pit lane is going to be drenched with water, so you want to just make sure that you're approaching it straight and not, you know, braking and turning at the same time in the pit lane, because it's possible to spin out there. So again, we're going to pit. We did select the racing hards, and I think if I'm not mistaken, we are going to add a little bit of fuel here, because we do have about 11 minutes left in the race. And so we want to make sure, again, we have enough fuel to get right to the end, which we'll see right at the end of the race. We might have been a good idea to put just a little smidge more of fuel into the car, but let's take a look and see how the rest of this race plays out. All right, so jumping out of the pits, fast forwarding a couple laps here, coming up to the start of the 47th lap. As you can see, we are 35 seconds behind the leader, which is a huge gap on Tsukuba. It's almost half a lap, so we do need to really put the hammer down. And unfortunately, I was just pushing a little bit too hard there. The back right tire caught a little bit of water on the top portion of the curb there, and I just completely spun out. So a very frustrating moment for me in this race. I was really honestly debating just canceling the race in the video and just trying it again another time, but I figured there's only 9 minutes left now, so let's just take a look and see what happens. So at this point in the race, I'm telling myself just no mistakes, don't spin out, don't drive too fast, don't overdrive the car. And right here on the next corner, a little bit of a twitch on the steering and a nice little 720, it looks like, down the main straight, which sucks. So again, the gap is now 40 something seconds. We have 8.5 minutes left on the race, and at this point I'm pretty much done with the race. But again, like I said earlier, you've invested 50 minutes into it, you might as well just finish it. So again, let's just take a look and see now if we make any more mistakes and how this race is going to pan out. So fast forward here to the 50th lap, sort of at the end of the 50th here, and I'm just checking my fuel trims. We did bump it back down to 1 so we can make up a little bit of time. Pushed it back up to 3. We do have about 5-ish laps left and just under 5 laps of fuel. So now at this point, I'm thinking, damn, am I going to be good for fuel? Am I going to run out of fuel? Do I need to pit again? If I have to pit again, I'm definitely going to lose this race. So I decided just to stay out on the track, keep pushing, and try and catch the leaders. The 41-second lead, and for some reason the leader was on wet tires in the dry and somehow maintaining the lead, and same with the second place guy. So I don't know if there's an element of rubber banding in this race. I'm not sure. I don't know how I wasn't able to bring the 40-second time gap down. But thankfully on the 51st lap, the first and second place cars ended up pitting to get new tires and as well as fuel up, because it looks like they're low on fuel. So at this point here, I'm really pushing to try and get past first and second place to take the lead. So let's take a look and see if that works out for us. As we're coming around the last corner of the 51st lap, both first and second have come out of the pits. And unfortunately, stupidly catching too much curb, getting very frustrated, probably doing like a 1080 spin on the straights. Don't know what happened there, just a lapse of concentration, and whatever time gap that I was able to make up by them going into the pits, I unfortunately lost. So now our time gap here is just about 25 seconds or in and around that. So let's see what happens now in the last 4 minutes of this race. So at this point in the race, I'm thinking to myself, there's absolutely no way that I'm going to be able to catch up. But as you can see here on the top left, for some reason, the AI stayed on their wet tires in the dry. Now, I don't know if that is programmed in so that they have to take an additional pit stop, but I'll gladly take it where I can. So both first and second place jumped into the pits, and it looks like that they're still on wet tires, so they are going to be changing to their dry tires, and that gave me the opportunity to catch up and at least shorten the lead to a couple of seconds here. And as we're going around the last straight, we just about passed the first and second place drivers. So at this point now, it's a matter of, well, we passed the second place driver. We can see the first place is right in front of us. He is on racing mediums and they are fresh tires. So it is going to be a bit of a push to get ahead of this driver. So let's see now what happens and if we end up winning this one in the last 3 minutes. So at this point in the race, we're down to 2.5 minutes, which is about 2 laps of racing left. I am 1.5 seconds behind the leader with 2 laps of fuel left to go. So I bumped my fuel trim to 6 so that I don't have to pit to get more fuel, because if I stayed on 4, I definitely would have ran out of fuel by the end of the race. So now this is a matter of balancing, trying to chase that first position while also not burning too much fuel and also not spinning out because the track is wet in certain sections. So this race was definitely a nail biter. Really felt like the entire race, I'm like, man, I'm wasting my time here. But we are going to see here that persistency is key and consistency is key as well. And just maintaining your cool and making sure that you're lapping consistently is the most important thing you can do. And we dive bombed the first place driver on the inside of this corner. He's being slowed down by the 14 driver here, or position 14. So I just go around and let the 14 driver essentially take up the second position driver's time and try and just open up the gap here. Now, on the bottom right, you can see we have about 1.6 laps of fuel left to go. We have 1.5 minutes left of racing, which is more than 2 laps. So it looks like we're going to run out of fuel by the end of this race, but let's fast forward and take a look and see what happens. So I just jumped ahead to the exit of the second to last corner. As you can see, the second place driver is right up my ass. I have absolutely no fuel left, so I have no choice but to sit here and block him down the straight so that he can't get past us. He did have, I guess, the opportunity to try and overtake, but it didn't take it. And so we round the last corner here of the track. Now my pedal is down to the ground to try and make sure we don't get past, and we spin out on the curb. And we just about win this race after 55 laps. We get pit maneuvered on the end of the race here, and you'll see that the time gap was insane. This is the closest race I've had with the AI ever on Gran Turismo, and you can see the time gap there is 56 milliseconds. Now, keep in mind that we did have several accidents, several spinouts, several issues, and we still end up winning this race. So something to keep in mind. You don't have to drive perfectly, just consistently. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit of a longer one. If you found that this was helpful, drop a comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.